Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is enjoying the YouTubes on whole food plant based slash vegan. Um, I enjoy doing them. I am enjoyed. I am enjoying doing these videos for you all, and I hope that you're getting as much out of it as as you can. So anyway, we're gonna go on. we did the. I'm sorry. We did the last 6 months. We did the first 6 months, and now we're going to do the what happened after the first 6 months, and I'm gonna see how far I can go. And I think that it's very. I know that it's very important the way I'm doing it because it lets you know um, what could happen, how it is a big process if you decide to go whole food plant-based or vegan. And it's an important step, but I think it's very important because a lot of people, they do things and they don't know that it entails a lot. So that's what I think the most important thing is. I had the notes here, which I like to cover them, but I learned something from the last YouTube that I did. Is the fact that that it is best to go like the first 6 months, then what happened after the 6 months. But I'm gonna make sure I get everything in my notes also. The one thing I wanted to do, because I was walking home from work, and I decided to give 3 points about like what I gather at this point in time before I get into, what happened after the next 6 months. One of them was, I didn't write it down, but they're very easy to remember. One was the proteins. The proteins are very tricky. Like I said, you have to know it's something before the basics. And anything you do, you just can't do the basics and then think that you can understand the basics and then learn whatever. You want to do a piano, you want to play piano, you go, oh, I buy a book. This is what I used to think. I can buy a book. Where's the basics? And you can't get to the basics. You can't understand the basics yet. Well, it's the same thing with the proteins. You have to understand something about the proteins. And it's not anything to figure out or calculate. You just have to see how you have to read something as far as what a nutritionist has to say about proteins. The reason why I use that book that I did is because that person, which I said Juliana Haver, she appreciated the whole food plant-based or vegan diet or vegan way of life as far as eating is concerned. If you get someone who is not who is not, how can I say, is not vegan friendly or whole food plant-based friendly, then you're going to get a whole different thing on how proteins work. But I'm saying how proteins work as far as a whole food plant-based person. If you can get through that, that would be very good. But it may take a little while, but take your time, but it is important, the proteins. I know 2 people who were in the diet, and I think in the way of life, I like to say the way of eating. I don't like to say diet because diet means you have to go strictly by this, strictly by that. In a whole food plant-based, the only thing that you're doing, which is big to some people, is not eating animal products. I mean, you know, not eating animal products, anything to do with animal. You're not eating animal products, and you can eat anything else. Okay, so saying that, what I mean is that, oh, I wanted to go to this example about this one of my friends who was a vegan. She was a vegan for like 8 years, and from observing her, she first of all she would cook she knew how to cook everything vegan, everything whole food plant based. She would come to work and make with cookies, vegan cookies. She could make things that you normally would use cheese in. She just knew the ropes, and it was really, really something great. I really, I swear, it was. I'm sorry for saying that, but she this girl knew how to cook vegan. However, she after 8 years, she started eating meat, but she wouldn't eat that much. And what I gathered, since I'm at the 7 year stage, I can see what happened is the fact that her proteins, I don't think that she picked up on her proteins. You can't do it by a book. You have to experience it and then learn it. You have to be kind of, I can't say intelligent, although it's very good if you had taken biology. I know, I, it's just knowing certain things about biology is good. But what I'm saying is that this protein is a big deal. It's easy for me because because like I said, I bought everything, but I used the things I learned in school and biology and everything, and you just put everything together. Not everything is written down in words. And like, for instance, if I eat beans and rice, if I eat beans, excuse me, I would not eat beans and, how can I say? I would not eat beans and something else. I would eat beans and rice. I wouldn't eat it. I would eat beans and potatoes also. But certain things I wouldn't put together. Not so much because of the taste, but because you need to balance out things. Okay? This is very important, and I'm just gonna keep going, but we're gonna keep talking about the topic until and add on to it. But like I was saying, like she stopped because of her protein, which what I can see. I talked to another person like recently, maybe about a year ago, and she used to be vegan. And again, she said she was running, she did this marathon or something, and the only thing she could think about was eggs. And after she ran, she started eating eggs, and she just continued. So the only thing I can see is the funny thing about the protein. But we're gonna keep talking about the protein a little bit by little bit to build it up. So I could just give you points, and I'm sure you'll make it. One thing I use, this is not the only thing I use, but I usually eat things that have protein. I mean, I don't care if it's because they have vegan cookies, you know, they have whole food plant-based cookies, and I go by this one thing. If it doesn't have any protein, usually I'll eat something if it has at least 1 gram or one thing of protein. I guess they call it a gram of protein. Normally, if something doesn't have any protein in it, I'm talking about something vegan. If something vegan or something whole food plant based doesn't have protein in it, I'll just pretty much leave it alone. Okay, like candy, forget about candy. Okay, so now, that was one of the things, the protein. The reason why I stuck with that because it was very important. The other thing I wanted to say for now, before I get into after 6 months, is remember I said I was constipated. After I did the whole food plant based, I never had a problem with it whatsoever. I never had a problem with being constipated. Although recently, maybe around like 6 months ago, I would have been constipated because I was eating like something that had a lot of protein, which I don't really, I stopped doing that. You know, they have these candy bars or whatever. Anyway, it was a cookie that was vegan, but it was just for money. You know, they make these things to make a lot of money off vegans or whole food plant-based. And it was like, I'm not going to say the cookie name. It was good, but after I ate it, because it had something like 23, or I stay away from things that have like 17 or 23 grams of protein. I stay away from like marketing schemes like that, because when I was eating it, I had to drink maybe so much water. I don't drink that much water because a lot of things I eat have water in it. That's another thing. A lot of things you eat as a vegan has water, so you don't have to drink like water all day long. But I noticed when I ate these cookies, I had to drink a lot of water. I just was like so thirsty, so then I just stopped eating them. I mean, maybe I'll eat one later sometimes, but you know, then there's another cookie, just a regular cookie. There's one cookie company, I'll bring one of the cookies. This one is a vegan cookie, and it's not a marketing scheme, but these cookies are very good and they're vegan, they're alternative. And it has like chocolate chip, it has raisin, it has oatmeal, and I'll show you that one. But that one's not a money scheme. It's just maybe it has like 2 grams of protein in it. So that's the second thing I said. But when I ate that cookie that I was telling you about with the 23 grams of protein, and when you eat that much protein, you really do have to drink water. That's why I take it in different things, different foods. So I was talking about constipation. That was the only time after being a vegan that that I got. It would have been constipation, but because I kept up with the diet, it wasn't really constipation. Now made me understand what constipation is. It's the fact that you can't release some waste, okay? But because I continued with the diet and I was able to just do it regularly without any medication, without any over-the-counter drugs. Because I found, because your whole intestines, like, I can say I'm not a doctor or anything, but I'm saying what I see internally and what happens to me is that I was able to use different muscles that I never used that much, but that I continually develop because, I walk a lot in my diet, that I was able to locate a muscle that was able to release it naturally, something I couldn't do when I wasn't on the diet. I can say it right here, but it was like lower. It was lower than this. And like I said, when I was like I said, it would have been constipation if I had not been on a diet and continually, how can I say, taking care of. I say taking care of my stomach, since everything you eat, your stomach really enjoys. And I'll let you know. This is the third other point that I wanted to talk to you about. I told you I was taking notes while I was walking, and I didn't write them down. That's the other one. What I'm saying is that when I ate all that fiber, it was fiber and protein, something like that. And when I ate all of that, maybe because it was mixed, a lot of fiber and protein, I don't know. But like I said, if I had not continued with my diet, I would have had to do an over-counter drug, where you take something and then it relaxes your bowels or whatever. But I didn't have to do that because I noticed, which was really strange, and I was like, wow. And it was like, instead of, using the regular muscles that I use, I went further down and I was able to use different muscles to release it naturally. And I felt like I could not believe it. And I was so happy that I continued with the diet. Okay, and so that's another thing which I've learned while being on a diet. By now, I'm not, like I said, I don't like to say diet. While being on this way of life or way of eating, is that was for that reason is that um, I can feel like when I use the bathroom or whatever, I can feel the different muscles. I'm actually using different muscles instead of just automatic because there's different things that you eat. Different things that you eat is different things that you use to release it. So that's enough for that right now. My next only thing point I want to bring out with that is that your we talk about our brain, we talk about our heart, we talk about our feet. Is our stomach and our stomach muscles are very important also. And a lot of times when I was on just a regular meat diet, I never thought about my stomach whatsoever. I mean, the only time you think about your stomach is like, oh, I want my stomach to be muscular, I want it to be fat. I mean, I want it to be muscular, I want it to be strong. But you never think about how the muscles in your stomach work with your intestines. The only time I really thought about it was with the whole food plant-based diet and the whole food plant-based way of eating. That's the only time I really considered or felt the different effects in my abdominal area, I guess you can say. Now the third thing I wanted to say was what's the third? The third thing was the euphoria. I can actually say euphoria. I'm almost sure that's a good word for it. But I think it was after the 6 months. No, I think it's not so much after the 6 months, but as I matured as a whole food plant-based, as a whole food plant-based, like I said, I don't like to say diet, but not eating meat, I guess. Or, I can say with the whole food plant-based diet. After I matured with it and I would eat, and I guess actually my stomach would develop, or my stomach muscles and my stomach, my intestines or whatever, I don't know. You get a euphoria sometimes, most of the time after you eat. It's like you eat and you taste it, and then after it's in your stomach, you feel like, oh, it's like a little, like euphoria, I guess I can say. It happens all the time. And it's really something valuable because you eat and you actually like enjoy it being digested. I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but you can see that the things that's happening in your stomach is like going along very well, because after you eat it, I feel this like, oh, I would even go like that sometime. I mean, a lot of times after my meal, I would always go, after I eat it, I tasted it, I enjoyed it, and then I would get this like euphoria. It's very light, it's not really a big feeling, but you can feel like, oh, I do that. Okay, so that's 3 things that for now that I can tell you that will help you encouragement. Now, after the 6 months, now we're getting after the 6 months, after the first 6 months. Like I said, it is a process. I have a little kitty here, and he's making noise sometimes. But after the process, it is a process. That's one good reason why this YouTube, because it doesn't just say get into the diet. I know I've seen no. I've seen many I've seen many, like celebrities, okay? They want to get into the whole food plant-based diet, but then they actually have to live it, and their whole world crashes in. I mean, they believe in it, and then after 6 months, they kind of like stop, or it fades away because your whole body changes. And like I said, the first 6 months is the nicest part. You get so many benefits. But then after the 6 months, things start to get serious, okay? Because I think it's like your body's saying, well, this guy is serious about this. So because of these things that are happening now, we might as well change everything, because we can depend on him for this, we can depend on him for that. So that means we can change this and we can change that, because he's going to keep doing this. He's going to keep doing that. And like I said, your body does have to work a little bit more. You have to use a little bit more energy, because you're making, like I said, we're deal this protein little by little. You're making you eat and you get amino acids, and then certain amino acids come together. And I'm being very basic and easy so that you can kind of catch it now. And your amino acids make a protein that your body needs, okay? However, when you eat meat, like I said, the animal is making does the protein. When you eat the animal, you don't have to do anything else. So you just get that protein. So your body is like, okay, yeah, it's already done. We don't have to do this. Oh, it's already done. We don't have to do this. But when you become whole food plant based, and your body starts like your body will start changing, because because it knows that you're not making this full protein. It's not coming in. So they have to make it from amino acids, as far as what I can say. But that's not the most important. I can tell you this, or you can talk to a nutritionist, and they can explain it to you. But you still have to live it. You need another thing. There's another part of intelligence in your body, and you have to find it to where you can say, oh, I understand. So let me eat a little bit of rice, and let me eat a little bit of these beans, and let me eat this vegan cookie. It has a little bit this. And then you get to know, oh, this has this. You don't, the body's not going to say, oh, this has this amino acid, this. Your body, it's more like, oh, I ate this, and I have experience with this, and this. And these three things go together. So, because I experienced it. So evidently, this is the protein that I need. It's more like that, okay? And then you get like intuition to where you know that this is like this and this is like that. It's more like that, okay? Oh, okay. So, where am I? So we talked about the 6 months. We're into the 6 months. I went off on a tangent a little bit, but I'm going to find out where I'm at. Okay, so, the reason why I was saying that, because I want to get you into, the reason why I was talking so much about this protein and so much the importance of it, and I'm setting you up because something happens after like the 6 months, okay? So now I know why I went off on a tangent, because I want to prepare you for this thing that may happen. Most likely it's going to happen, okay? It happened to me. Normally, if you're younger, I don't think a lot of things that happens to your body when you're younger, you don't face it because your body, for some reason, kind of does it on its own. It doesn't let you know what's going on. It's like when I was young, I was walking and I couldn't feel myself walking, and I was like, I can't feel myself walking. Something like that. So it's like when you're younger, your body, even when you go to sleep, your body's probably doing a lot of maintenance, But when you're young, you don't feel it. When you get older, you can feel pretty much all the maintenance that's happening in your body. Okay? And it's up to you whether you choose to sleep through it or stay up. So now, I finally got you there. After the 6 months, the first 6 months, I came home. My contact is kind of bothering me, so I'm going to put a little drop in it. I'm sorry. But this is what happens. Because I wear these contacts. Okay, it only takes a second. So anyway, so there. After the 6 months, I was going to school. I was working full time. Okay. And I come home. I go to sleep for 1 hour, and I wake up. I go to sleep around 9 o'clock, and I wake up at 10. Okay. Or maybe it was like, I know I woke up. I went to sleep maybe 9 or 10, but I will wake up in 1 hour. Okay. So I woke up that hour and I stayed up. I'm the type of person, if I wake up and I can't go to sleep, I don't force myself to go to sleep, and I definitely don't take anything. I just say, well, I'm up. I mean, there's something that's happening. Evidently, I'm up for a reason. Okay? And I listen to my body. But like I said, when you get older, you can pretty much feel that something's going on, some maintenance, okay? And it was happening and that's another good reason why it's good to take biology, because when things happen in your body, you know that there's cells and it's working and things like that. So if you took a biology class, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm almost sure, I think I could have gotten a B in biology, but I didn't take this other test, which gave me a C in biology. But I pretty much am a B student in biology. So biology is good to have taken or to take. So anyway, I wake up at if I go to sleep at maybe, let's say 10, because I was working at night. Sometimes I worked at night. If I would get up at 10, or if I go to sleep at 10, I guess I say I would get up at 11, and I would stay up 12, 1, 2, 3. I get to sleep. I can go to sleep at 4. I had to wake up at 5 or 5:30, so I would go to sleep. My body would actually go to sleep at 4, clockwork, and I couldn't get up and I got up at 5:30 to go to work. So I would get an hour and a half of sleep. When I get up, I'm fully functional. That's why I noticed there was nothing wrong with me. I would get up like I slept all night. And I would, and that was I can't be up. I can't be not sleepy. But I wasn't. I gotta take this contact off. So anyway, that's what happened. Sorry. So anyway, so I got up. So I would get up at 4:30. And I went to work. Everything worked out. It was perfect. I go to class. Everything was perfect. I was studying. Like I said, I was fully functional. I couldn't believe it. So I don't have a contact in this eye, so I don't know how my eyes are going to be. I don't know how they're going to look while I'm talking. So anyway, that happened. Okay, it happened one night. The next night, the same thing happens. I go to sleep at, let's say, 10. I would wake up at 11. I would get up 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. All night long, stay up. I would go to sleep at 4 o'clock. I couldn't wait until 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, I get up. Everything's all. I mean, 4 o'clock, I go to sleep. Wake up at 5:30. Everything's fine. Go to work. Fully functional. Then after a while, I started listening to my body. I mean, I started, when I was up, I was like, well, what's happening, you know? And I could feel certain things happening. I mean, it was like, you know, different sections of my body, and it would go all over. It wasn't like a scary thing. But there was one thing that would happen, but it was more like this adrenaline thing I would get sometimes. But I didn't worry about that. It was the fact that I couldn't, you know, like sleep because I had these things happening. My body was changing. That happened a long time. It happened maybe 6 months. I mean, it just happened 6 months. I mean, every night I would go to sleep at 10 o'clock and wake up at 11. Okay, and the nice thing, the thing that told me that there was nothing wrong was the fact that I was fully functional. I wasn't sleeping during the day. I wasn't like tired or anything, but that's what happened. To put in something personal, I don't know, but maybe it was a little bit of tuition. Maybe that's for the reason of staying up, because if you look at my other videos, the problems that I had is something else to do with like I said, my mother was passing away, which I didn't know, but I don't want to make this, I don't want to get into anything so personal. I just want to say that may have some effect on it, was the fact that my mother was like dying, and maybe she was trying to, I mean, you know, mother's intuition, but that may have had something to do with it, but it happened for 6 months. And the whole time, I never got discouraged about being whole food plant-based. I continued that, okay? And I most likely figured, because whenever something like that happens, I always say to myself, I always say, why is this happening? What reasons could there be that this thing is happening? Or what reasons could there be that that's happening? And of course, I knew I was on the whole food plant-based diet, so, you know, I just, you know, worked it out. Of course, I said prayers and stuff like that. That was the most important, too. So anyway, after 6 months, let's say it's in like around I graduate from college. I got a bachelor's degree. Excuse me. Modern language, Spanish, concentration, and linguistics minor. So I got that done, thank God. Then it was still happening, but like I said, to put in something personal, my mother was really like on the verge of like passing away. So I guess this must have been around in March. So it happened a little bit longer than 6 months, I guess. Or close to 6 months, I'm not sure. But this day I was really feeling bad. I know this has something to do with her too, because I was thinking about her, that I wasn't talking to her. But for reasons, you can look at the videos if you want. But anyway, I got this adrenaline rush. It was like I had before when I would wake up. But this one was really, it was the same, but only I felt scared. The other times I was a little bit scared, but nothing, I knew nothing really was happening. So I got this adrenaline. It was, it wasn't a heart. It was an adrenaline, a beautiful, euphoric adrenaline. If I knew what it was, I would have enjoyed it, but, you know, I didn't know what it was. And I was getting ready to go to work. And I actually called the ambulance. Like I said, I call a doctor as soon as if I knew something wrong. Anyway, I really didn't need the doctor. Really didn't need an ambulance. I called him, and then I go, they go, are you sure you need an ambulance? I guess they talked to me. And I go, no, I'm all right. So, anyway. I didn't take the ambulance, but I still felt terrible. Not terrible, scared, afraid. So then I started thinking about the my way of eating, not eating meat. That was kind of scaring me. And I was like, should I eat a piece of chicken? Should I eat a hamburger? That's what I was thinking. I got kind of afraid after all this time. I mean, I already been through like 6 months, 6 or 7 months of not doing that ritual or whatever, the body ritual or whatever. So I said, I'm gonna walk I'm gonna walk to my clinic. And I had just gotten out of school, but I still had the insurance from my school, from my college in Denver. So I walked. And while I was walking, I was saying, should I get a chicken soup? Or, I kept thinking about, after all of that, I started thinking about this diet, this meat that I wasn't eating. And I was like feeling guilty and wrong. I should be eating meat. So I went into the clinic and they said, okay, we're going to take some blood work. And no, when she took me into to take the when they take the blood pressure and they talk to you, I said, I don't eat meat anymore. I shouldn't eat meat. I mean, like I was telling her, I was saying what I thought was wrong. I said, I don't eat meat anymore. And she didn't say anything. And then I went to the next doctor. They took some blood work, and I still thought, dog, I should be eating meat. I don't eat meat anymore, okay? I stopped eating meat, and I thought, with the first lady, I thought when I said I don't eat meat anymore, I thought she was going to say, I cannot believe it, you have to eat meat. And I was surprised that everybody I was talking to didn't say anything. I mean, they weren't like astounded that, oh, you don't eat meat, you have to eat meat, And I was looking for that. And the person who took the blood, I go, I don't eat meat anymore, And they didn't say anything. And then they took me, so they took all the blood work, they took all the tests or whatever, and I told them what happened, with the beat. It wasn't like the heart, it was an adrenaline. Like I said, it was kind of euphoric, but I didn't know it. You're scared when you don't know something. And so I went to, how can I say? Oh, the last doctor was, they told me she wanted to touch my stomach, and she pressed my stomach everywhere and all around. She asked me about the different, like how my waist was and how this and how that, and I told her I don't eat meat. She still didn't say anything. Anyway, after she took the test, she goes, and after she tests my stomach and asked me all the questions, she goes, oh, if you don't eat meat, she told me in a beaten around the bush type way that if you don't eat meat, your body has to produce it. Your body has to produce certain things like, proteins or whatever. Your body has to work a little bit harder, which is good because your body's exercising inside and it's not being lax by having, protein already given to you. So it starts getting ready to make its own protein. You're actually making your body work a little bit more, exercise inside, internally. And she told me that at the end, after I went through all of that. So they wanted to make sure I was all right. After they found out I was all right, that's what she told me. And when I got home, I mean, nowadays, before it used to take a long time to do tests. But she called me and she told me all of my test results were normal. She goes, all of your test results is normal. One thing she told me in the office, which I didn't do, she said you should take calcium supplements, which I never do. I never take any supplements because if I need calcium, that's one of the things when I shop for food, but I also shop for certain things in food. And that's one of the requirements of the food that I eat. Now I know, I mean, after a while you pretty much know what's this and what's in that, what has calcium, but I usually make sure I have calcium. Now you have it in like orange juice, you have it in soy milk, you have it in almond milk. And so anyway, so that was it. So then I knew what had happened was that my body was preparing itself or changing, because now it knew it had to make certain things that I wasn't getting from meat. Like I said, meat is already, the animal supplies, puts the protein and everything together. You eat it and your body doesn't have to make the protein because it's already done. Okay? Now, there was something I wanted to say about this adrenaline. Oh, as far as that thing that happens, it happened to me maybe 2 or 3 times. Because like I said, during the 6 months, and then after a year, it really happened. Because like I said, I went totally whole food plant-based. I in my experience with whole food plant-based, I've come across 2 people who wanted to be vegan. And both of them were younger than I was, very much younger. One was in her 30s. And after 1 week, because I guess she was younger, after 1 week she went vegan. She got that, but she knew, she wasn't afraid like I was. I mean, she knew it was because of the diet. And she liked it. And actually the first and second time I wasn't that afraid, but that third time, maybe because it was like 1 year. And then someone recently at work, she's very young, she's like in her early 20s. The same thing happened to her. After 1 week, she got the and she knew it was from the diet. So it's not really all that scary. I think when you get older, you get more afraid about the different changes in your body. So anyway, and then that now we're up to a year. After a year. And the sad thing, I don't want to say the sad thing. Anyway, my mother did pass away after that last experience that I had, which was something that was good, when I went to the doctor. And I was sorry that my mother passed away. Anyway, that was the time that my mother, after a year of me being a vegan, my mother passed away, which was very, very sad. But I don't really want to get into anything personal, but I mean, I still have to talk about some things, because things happen. So, anyway, so that's after a year of being a vegan. And after that point, like I said, I knew what I was eating. I mean, I knew what to eat. I know the foods. I didn't have to buy everything. And I was very comfortable with being whole food plant-based. But I was still into saying whole food plant-based, WFPB. I wasn't at the vegan stage yet. Like I said in my notes, then I'm going to come up with it. But so that was after a year. Now we can move on. I can go through like 2 years or 3 years in the next one. So maybe we have like 2 more. So I think I would go through like, then I guess maybe up until now on the next one, because it's like the first year was an experience. I don't think I have to, there's no like real detail in the next years. And I did find out it's around 7 years, so I'm on my 8th year of whole food plant-based. And like I said, now it's totally whole food plant-based. I'm very happy with it. I tell you, I'm using this video to explain to people, which I didn't have a personal experience. Not just that, but I remember things chronologically and how things happened, because I've always studied in my life. And that's another thing, the type of person who would be good with this diet. I always studied all the time. I exercise, but I never over-exercise. I always exercise. I always moderately exercise. Even when I was in high school and the guys in the weight classroom, they would try and lift like 100, 200, 300 pounds. I just lifted 30, 40 pounds on purpose. I like to walk. I did like to eat well. When I was younger, I did eat well. I mean, I ate a lot of not as much. I ate junk food, but my parents feed. My mother fed, cooked all the time. She fed me very well, and I was interested in eating healthy. But like I said, when I was going back to school, when I became vegan, I was eating junk food because it's just you're in school, you want everything fast, you don't have time to do this, you don't have time to do that. So that's it for now. I hope I encouraged some people. I'm sorry it's long, but it's important. It's very important, everything I'm telling you. And I hope you get through this video because this is your life. It's a big change if you want to get into this diet. And I wish I had someone to explain in detail their experience about it. People just told me, oh, I was a vegan, oh, I did this, but they never explained it in detail. But I can pretty much know how to do details. So anyway, the next one is probably I'm just going to do, I don't know how it's going to be, but I know it's going to be after the 1 year and how I'm living it as far as the vegan is concerned. But if I keep going, I mean, like, I'll finish this out. I'll finish doing the vegan thing. I don't think it's going to take longer now because the other years were the same thing. And just one point I want to make. If you eat, like I said, I've eaten a croissant. I've eaten things with butter. I've eaten things with, sometimes, not too much. A birthday cake, not a big piece of cake, but I'll eat a little small cake. Like I said in the last one, I would do that. But you're still a vegan. I mean, and the thing about it is that people at work or people know that you're vegan. Like I ate some mayonnaise. Now I don't eat any mayonnaise because somebody showed me don't eat mayonnaise. That was an experience. But I don't eat mayonnaise at all. But I did, and but I'm still vegan. The reason why I can say you can make a mistake or you can, it's not cheating, but you can do it sometimes because everything around you is vegan. Now I don't. Because remember the first year. Always remember your first year. Your body changes. And like I said, I would wake up in the morning. I will wake up and then fall asleep and only get 1.5 hours. My body was changing over to whole food plant-based. To all my cells in my body was changing over. And that's a big change. So if you do eat a croissant or something like that, I mean, I know you're not going to like it anyway. Or if you do eat a birthday cake, a piece of birthday cake, you're still considered a vegan because it'd take a lot for you to, all your cells in your body has changed over to being from being animal protein to your own proteins, okay? And I know that because I experienced the change. Like I said, I'm older and I lived through where the body starts at the feet and all your cells, you can feel them from your head to your toes. It goes through the whole body. And it happened to me 6 months, okay? So anyway, now, like I said, I already told you what I was going to do for the next video, and then, so maybe it'll be 1 or maybe 2 more as far as talking about vegan, but I want to do maybe I'll cook something or show you how to cook some things, and that's it. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all for hanging in there, and I really did enjoy speaking to you about a change that I made in my life that was very important to me and affects me now. And if you do make the decision, I hope that this, like Juliana Hever has helped me, I hope that this YouTube has helped you in some kind of way. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed everything. Bye-bye.